Your EV battery is not a ticking time bomb waiting to rob you of your precious nickels and dimes the minute the warranty expires. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla Weekend. It's a common whinge among those on the outside. Your EV battery, it's going to die after 50,000 miles or 80,000 or even 100,000 miles. It's going to die. It's going to die, and you'll be on the hook for more than the car is worth to replace it. Yeah, maybe. But maybe there's more to it. So this complaint was more common in the early days of electric cars. They said the batteries just aren't going to last. This was kind of before people knew what they were, and it was, at least then, a fair complaint. It's the same thing that people said about horses and horseless carriages, though. A lot of the concerns were pretty unfounded. So what are we going to do, right? It's an issue that sounds legit. What's the actual truth? Yeah, the facts say you're wrong, but let's find out. If your EV battery dies today, yeah, there's a good chance you're going to need to throw the car away. That's true. Similarly true is that if your motor or transmission on your Splody Juice powered rig goes nips to the wind, yeah, you're going to likely scrap that as well, right? So when you buy a dyno burner, you often get a 36,000 mile drivetrain warranty. If anything goes wrong that early, you're golden. They'll just replace it. I know a lot of people who've had their cars die on them short of 100,000. See, EVs have a much longer warranty at 100,000 miles, at least on the battery. Maybe not for the motors, but those seldom fail. They're very simple. The battery is legally mandated to at least have 70% of its original life after 100,000 miles or 8 years, whichever comes first. That's a long time. Now, does that mean that all of them are going to automatically fail at mile 100,001? No. You'll see degradation slowly over time, and you'll have 70% as good a battery on year 8 as you did when you bought it. And really, it's at least that. If it was right around that, it'd be tricky. It's almost as good as new. So that's a guarantee you should take to the bank. If your car delivers on it, you won. You got a great battery. And if it doesn't, you get a new battery, a better battery with the newest technology, with all the improvements that have come along in the intervening years. See, I've owned 24 ICE cars. And I'll tell you this, you already know it, doesn't take much in repairs to call an ICE car a complete loss, especially an older one. If your engine goes out on your 2013 Civic, you're not going to repair it. If the transmission blows on your 2013 Ford Explorer, throw it away. You're not going to pay someone to fix it. You're probably going to pay someone to haul it away for you. And yeah, you can fix cars at home, I guess, technically. As a hobbyist, sure. But you won't pay someone to do it because the numbers just don't make sense. It's just not worth it. And the number of people who actually have the skills to replace a motor themselves is exceptionally few. That's a very small number we're talking about. So the difference between a blown motor or transmission and a battery is it's more likely you'll see the degradation coming. You'll know it's going to go bad because you'll see the life shortening. With an engine or a transmission, they usually just kind of go. So if you bought a car with 300 miles of range and 8 years and 100,000 miles later, it still has 220 miles of range, you're good. Now, if it's at 209, you get a new battery. How is that anything other than a win? So if you're considering an EV and your fear of imminent failure is keeping you up at night, maybe you shouldn't buy an EV. Or, for that matter, a gas-powered car, or a diesel-powered car, or an anything-powered car. And maybe you shouldn't take the bus either, because who knows, that might break down and leave you late for work. Yeah, who knows, man? The future's uncertain. But what is certain is the battery warranties are long by law. So if you buy an EV today, will it last forever? No. But it does have a very good chance to outlive a comparable new internal combustion engine car of the same quality, of the same price. A couple other things I should mention. If you get a fender ding in an older car, that could total it. If you have a 10-year-old Mercedes or Land Cruiser, your airbag suspension, which is due to be replaced, could easily cost more than the car is worth. That's why you see these luxury cars on deep discount car lots so often. And since EVs have so few moving parts, there's a lot less to go wrong overall. Warranty longer than any gas car on the market. It's hard to see how you'd choose anything else. So forget for a minute that gas cars need oil changes and transmission flushes and all kinds of fiddly nonsense. Those are silly. We'll look back on those in 20 years as being as quaint as stoking the steam engine so it doesn't kaboom from overpressure, or whatever it is. That's a thing, right? I'm no engineer, or I'm not one of those guys who drives a train. What are they called again? It escapes me. We'll just call them engineers. So if you know someone who's still worried that their battery's going to just die on them after a very short time, and they're going to have to throw the whole thing out or pay $20,000, remind them, yeah, you're not going to pay $20,000. The car's probably not worth that much anymore. And if it is, that's amazing. But the same is true of cars. You're not going to spend $5,000 or $10,000 replacing the engine in your gasoline car when it's only worth $5,000 or $10,000 anyhow. You just wouldn't do it. It's crazy. So let's let those things go. So I would say fears of a short-lived battery are out of date. They're honestly antiquated at this point, and it's time to just let them go. So what did I miss? What did I misunderstand? Leave it all in them comments below. You blinded brilliance, you juicy wisdom, all that good stuff. And yeah, thanks to my patrons who get early access, bonus content, a whole heap of extras, and who knows, you know, good stuff. Appreciate you making the decision to support the channel. It's the reason I'm able to keep going. It means a lot to me. Thank you guys so much. So what did I miss? What did I misunderstand? Let me know. Subscribe if you haven't. Like it if you haven't. Give it a thumbs down. I don't care. Just engage, baby. Yeah. So stay tuned. Stay juicy. And I can't wait to hear from you clever robots awfully, awfully soon.